Happy holidays, and we're one day away. If you're watching this game when it's recorded, it is Saturday, and you're one day away from the Houston Texans taking on your Cleveland Browns. Me and Jeff will get you ready for that action. We'll go over the injury report. A couple of our big our targets, especially our offensive targets, are going to be out for the game. We'll talk about what that does for Deshaun Watson in the offense. We'll also talk about the matchup, linebackers versus running backs. One of the things that Houston Texans do have is a nice running back, a nice young running back in Pierce, rookie, but he'll be going up against the veteran Taki. We'll go to ins and outs of that. And then we'll also get your question of the day. We have a really good question from Twitter. We'll go ahead and take on and drop an answer for you guys as well. And we'll get you ready for the entire game, Houston Texans versus the Cleveland Browns. It's your last look before we get ready for game time. Get in, get ready to go, and get this guide so you can know what to look for in the game coming up here in one day. It is the Locked On Browns podcast.
You are Locked On Browns, your daily Cleveland Browns podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Pre-game edition. Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends, your daily delivery of all things Dog Pound LGB on the LOB, the Locked On Browns podcast, brought to you by the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Trimming the hours away. Sunday, 1 o'clock kickoff in Houston, NRG Stadium. Cleveland Browns travel down to face the Houston Texans. And, as you may have heard, certain quarterback returning for the Cleveland Browns in the place where his career originally began, in Deshaun Watson. Your host, Jeff Lloyd, at Jeff_LJ_Lloyd from the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, The Barbershop, 92.3, the fans own. And, of course, pregame, postgame coverage for your Browns, your Buckeyes, Cavaliers, Mr. Garrett Bush at GBush91. Today's episode of Locked On Browns is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline has you covered this season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline, where the game starts. Excited, guys. Absolutely excited. There's no way around it. When you make a move that you think is going to be, a organizational changing move as far as a player, and you have to wait 8 months. It's been 8 months, but Deshaun Watson will make his Cleveland Browns debut Sunday in Houston. The Browns will be rocking the all whites on the road. From last episode to this one, Denzel Ward is going to be a go. He was able to get through practice today, so the Browns will be fully stocked at the cornerback position. And it's weird because, the only thing we're kind of getting on David Njoku is a knee. And obviously it happened somewhere late in the Tampa game. There was no much talk after it. And then all of a sudden, David's not a part of Wednesday. David's not a part of Thursday. David wasn't able to go today. And forever and ever and ever, the Browns play these things carefully. Whatever your choice is. I mean, can 4 and 7 have something to do with these decisions? Yes, but the Browns, and especially the players who they have a lot of time and a lot of money invested into, such as David Njoku, they're going to do their best to get, keep him as close to 100% as possible. So no David Njoku this week as we travel down. It's about Deshaun Watson. We'll get to some matchups here in segment 2. Garrett's got a question or two for segment 3. We'll give our final game thoughts. But you go down there against a team at 1-8-1, I think it is. It might even be worse than that. Who even knows? It's kind of funny. There's a tie involved in there for the Texans of all things. This is a team with their eyes 100% on April in the 2023 NFL draft, trying to secure the number 1 pick. Texans are right now in a lot of ways in the mode the Browns were in 2017, having a lot of draft capital, looking to take advantage of all that, basically, rebuild the entire damn thing down there in Houston. For us Browns, it's all about number 4. And, understanding that there's probably limitations this week. I know everybody, there could be some running with Deshaun Watson. You're not taking a guy who hasn't played football in 700 days and saying, you're going to call a couple of, RPOs where we have you running through a hole. The Browns ain't doing that stuff just yet. You want to get this guy acclimated. You want to get him back comfortable. Most important thing is obviously his arm, his ability to throw the ball. You're working on all those things first before you're worried about putting in a running attack with Deshaun Watson. But we have waited since St. Patrick's Day. It was a Friday. It's about 2:30 in the afternoon, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Official word dropped. Browns had made the move. We finally get to see it on Sunday, Garrett.
We're ready to go, man. We're ready to go. This is you less than 24 hours at it now, man. You got a guy that is going to change a lot of things in the building. Not to put too much on his shoulders, but this team got a lot of parts and a lot of pieces that is already legit. And I think a lot of people, because they haven't seen a quarterback like this around here, they haven't really seen the skill set. I think they're kind of apprehensive, but go ahead and embrace it. You still got guys like Nick Chubb. You still gonna have guys like you still got guys like Myles Garrett. You still got guys that are top players at their position. Amari Cooper is the number one receiver, one of the better offensive lines in the game. So, people can go ahead and embrace it. I'm excited to see what it's gonna be. Yeah, he'll be a little rusty, but I'm asking though, is it like, am I going to expect him to be rusty for 3-4 games? No. To me, it's just, he's been preparing. I've been doing some digging and I talked to some people around him. He has been throwing the football consistently every single day since he left the Texans. Now, granted, it has not been under duress. It hasn't been under practice. It hasn't been game time experience, but from the moment that he stopped playing for the Texans and sat out that year to the moment he stepped back on the field after his 11-game suspension, being back in the facility, he's trained, he's worked out, he's kept himself in shape. People close to him tell me he's the best shape that he's been in. He's in a good mental place right now. And I think right now he's in a position where he can really go out there and endear himself to a lot of people. Because let's be clear about it. If he comes out and he throws up a couple touchdown passes, 2 touchdowns, 1 on the ground, and the Browns look like they've looked as a team that's moving offense and running formations they've never seen, efficient, fun. They make football fun again to watch. And Nick Chubb is out here still contributing, doing his thing, and everything looks like it's coming together. People are going to get behind this guy. People's going to get behind this guy. So we're definitely going to be behind him. I'm excited to see it, and we'll definitely go ahead and make sure that we got the VCR set, we got the DVR set. Hey, it's prime time. The game has only been shown probably in Ohio and Texas, but we're gonna record this one because I think it's gonna be the start of a beautiful relationship.
You look for foundational players. You look to put together the best, a semblance of a roster you possibly can. You mentioned Amari Cooper. I think to this point, every Browns fan is just absolutely jacked at what Amari Cooper has brought to this team. Nick Chubb, we all know what we got. Myles Garrett, we know what we got. Now you're saying that you may have that type of player at the quarterback position? At the quarterback position too? I mean,
what?
I mean, this is like, whoa. I mean, like when you're checking boxes, you want, at least 2 big-time playmakers on offense. You've got those. You want that pass rusher. You've got that. Yeah, guys that can cover people. You got 2 guys that have had, kind of an up and down year, but you got a rookie playing his ass off in Martin Emerson. And now you might be bringing this in. This 6-game run, who knows if it leads to any knocking on the door or any even smelling or even coming close to playoffs. But this is about laying the foundation for what the Cleveland Browns think they are going to be for the next 4, 5, 6 years. They are going to be a perennial contender year in, year out. Those are your expectations. And if they're not, you might want to get out. Garrett's over there sipping his Kool-Aid. He is geeked up. He is fired up.
6-0 Kool-Aid right here in the barbershop mug. You know what we do.
Jeez, right. Look at this guy, Trey. He's ready, man. I guarantee he's sitting over there just waiting to hit print on some shirts. He's got that stuff ready to rock. But if you do not understand what the expectations now are for this franchise, you're fooling yourself. And so, yeah, if something doesn't go right and this doesn't work out, this will be the most utter blow you've ever taken as being a fan for this franchise. This is it. This is now when this is all supposed to change for a significant amount of time. We're going to get to a couple matchups here that are big, in my opinion. Again, we do this all the time. Oh, well, sometimes this team can't run the ball, but then, of course, they look like they invented the running game against the Cleveland Browns.
Yep.
There is a player on the Houston defense, and there's going to be a couple players y'all are going to remember from that Houston defense. I'm just going to give you a little secret now. Second leading tackler for the Houston Texans, our boy Christian Kirksey. But here's some things we're going to have to get to. Second segment, we'll get the third segment, a question to two, predictions for the game. Jeff Lloyd, Garrett Bush, your pregame edition of Locked on Browns. I tell you guys all the time, you sit down for these primetime games. Look, on a Sunday, and some of y'all, I don't know how you do it, how you manage 12 fantasy teams, watching 13 games. I don't know. Me, I go a different route, man. I kind of like prize picks. If primetime game, the Sunday night game, Thursday night game, Monday night game, you can sit down and watch anyway. So put together a lineup. You pick 2 to 5 players. And if they go and score more or less than the prize picks projection, you can win it to 10 times your money on any entry. You're not competing against other people. It's literally you versus the projections available. Prize Picks offers projections on any sport that you watch. It includes the NFL, NBA, MLB, NHL, men's, women's, collegiate athletics, boxing. Hell, you can even get in on a little Euro basketball if that's your fancy. Your entries can be made in 60 seconds or less. It's a simple process, safe and fast withdrawals. Currently operational in over 30 states and Canada. Download the Prize Picks app or go to prizepicks.com to sign up and play daily fantasy sports. First-time users can receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100 using the promo code LOCKEDON. If you deposit 100, they give you 100. You deposit 50, Prize Picks will give you 50. Don't forget to enter the promo code LOCKEDON at sign up for an instant deposit match up to $100.
Welcome back to the Locked On Browns podcast. This is the pregame edition. Make sure you get ready to go. It's a Saturday. You need to get ready to run. Listen, you might get hyped. You need to get involved, get your gear out, put that thing out. It's like the first day of school, boys and girls. You got a brand new quarterback.
Heck with the Christmas decorations, man. What fits you rocking on Sunday is what matters.
That's what it. Hey, listen. Hey, by the way, you see we doing it in the back. Get your Christmas presents together. Don't be taking too long. G. Bush is already on his. What are you doing, Jeff? What are you doing? You got to get your presents ready.
Well, let's just put it this way. There better be something when I'm bringing in 7 packages a day off the front stoop here, Jay. I hope that's what those are for.
I hope that's it. I hope it ain't just canned goods. Make sure you follow us at GBush91 at Jeff _ Lloyd. Make sure you catch us out. 2-minute warning post-game show. We give you a little pregame now, but you don't want to miss the postgame. That's where all the fireworks happen. 2 minutes into by the 2-minute warning, we will go live, and rain, sleet, or snow, whatever happened at that time, we'll deliver it to you, and we'll start the post-game show. So it's been exciting.
And Bull is either going to be ready to put Deshaun Watson in Canton, or he's going to be ready to put him out to pasture. There's only 2 ways this is going to go.
Right? Either Deshaun Watson has now become the greatest quarterback ever, or he's a bum.
Baker was better.
And Baker was better, and they need to go ahead and figure out a way to get their draft picks back, which I don't think is happening. So make sure you do that as well, and make sure you continue to hit the notification bell. The only way you know when the 2-minute warning is dropping is if you do subscribe to the channel, either Locked On Browns or Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Hit the notification bell. Let's get into some of these matchups, man. Like you said earlier, it's always when you watch the Browns, we always tell ourselves, oh, we got this advantage. We got an advantage. This team don't run the ball. We should be able to stop the run, get the guys off their base a little bit, stop the pass, and then before you know, we got to win. Doesn't happen that way. Last week they were able to stop the run a little bit, but I wasn't even concerned. I wasn't even sure they was going to be able to do that because of the way White ran the ball throughout the first drive. Yep. First drive, it looked like, I said, this is a whole nother ball game. Here we go again. But yet and still, I think Tom Brady, I think Byron Leftwich, I think, Leslie Frazier, I thought those guys did us a really good solid by stop running the ball and trying to throw the ball the rest of the game because we really stepped up and it played right into our hands, right? The Browns were able to pull out a tough game in overtime. And this game looks a little bit of the same. Davis Mills, he's garbage. The next quarterback that they got in, what was his name?
Allen. And if you remember, we've seen him.
It
He
wasn't
quarterbacked the Denver
the
Broncos.
Denver Broncos. We saw him in 2019.
And he beat us out there, dude. He beat
2019,
us.
his first Kyle Allen, his
Yep.
first start. There was the game Odell Beckham Jr. was like going crazy on the sideline because he couldn't get the rock. And Baker Mayfield had the Fu Manchu on with all the facial hair cut looking crazy. And Kyle Allen came out there and beat us. Hey, I forgot all about that. Well, now we need revenge. But here's the thing. They'll be trying to run the ball. Pierce is a running back who is a young back. I like him. I think they got something working there. I think they can use him moving forward. They still need a quarterback. But when you take a look at what they're going to try to do, I think they try to make this game a low-scoring affair. I think they try to work the ball on the ground. They got Brandon Cooks, but he's been on again, off again all year. I think the only way that they can really get some solid running and some solid things done is on the ground and chesting this Browns defense, who has been much maligned throughout the first part of the season. Jeff, your thoughts on Taki and how he's pretty much elevated himself. I think he's done a good job of being a stable force inside. What does that matchup look like for you against their running game?
Well, and real quick here from the Houston Texans side, their young rookie corner, Derek Stingley, out. So their best cover guy is not playing on Sunday. So we'll see how that plays out. Also, Brandon Cooks, as crazy as his entire year has been, he's out as well. So that is the best offensive player on the Houston Texans not in this game.
Wow.
Yeah. So, yeah, you have that going for you. Dameon Pierce. The thing with Dameon Pierce, and gee, I know, you remember, there are guys, when you tackle them, you think like there's stuff protruding from their body because you're like, every time I hit this, like, oh man, I thought I hit him and hit him hard. And you're the one that's like, and hurting everywhere. This dude he is literally like a bull in a ring trying to tackle this guy. He runs viciously. He just beats up on you. Right now, he's kind of hit a little bit of a rookie wall, and he's kind of, struggled over the last couple of weeks. But this is kind of what happens, and Browns fans, this. Everybody has their infinity to run the ball. But game dictates whether or not you can do that. And you're the Houston Texans, and you can't score many points. You don't really ever score more than 13, 14, 15. Guess what? Once halftime's over, you got no choice but to be tossing the ball around. That's just the way it goes. The other one that's going to be interesting is Jerry Hughes. Jerry Hughes has been in the NFL extremely, extremely long time. Long-time Buffalo Bill. Bills would have gladly had him back this year. Jerry got a big family. Said, you know what, man, it's time to take it closer back home to where I came from. Is a guy that Houston probably could have moved around the deadline. Look, man, I came here. I want to be here. This is, he's got 8 sacks this year. Still is quality speed rusher off the edge. At times, these are the type of guys that can give Jedrick Wills, a headache or two. Because Jedrick, every now and then, if the footwork gets a tiny bit sloppy or a tiny bit off, speed rusher is going to take advantage of that. So there's definitely something to look out for there. But Dameon Pierce, if this game stays close and can stay close for a while, this kid could be a factor. And Sione Taki's done a fantastic job. I think he is, certainly going to show up this week. But the key for Sione Taki is to do all these Mike responsibilities so JOK can be this freelance hybrid guy where you don't bog him down with information. You say, ball, find it, hit it. That's it. The Browns secondary should have a lovely, lovely matchup here. Allen, the quarterback. Houston doesn't have a ton going on to wide receiver spot. Browns are loaded. All the corners are available. A.J. Green is available. You will have him as well this week. Thomas Graham had a good week last week. We'll see if there's reps for a guy like him this week when everybody's back in tow. But these are some key matchups for the Browns. Of course, we're going to say this now, but, when G and the Bull and Mike and we all kick this off on Sunday, it's probably going to be damn near an hour of Deshaun Watson. We'll analyze his cleats, how he wore his socks. Was his towel in the right spot? This is where it's going to be because this is the biggest story right now for this team. And, 6-1 would be great. 5-1 would be great. But this team needs to put itself on the map. So once free agency opens up in March, there's a lot of guys similar to last year, Von Millers, those type of guys. And there was a piece out today that basically was talking about, guess what? Defensive tackles have been absolutely disrespected in free agency for about the last 5 or 6 years. Well, I guarantee you, there is a general manager in Cleveland right now who's got a checkbook just waiting to say, hey, if I got to pay, I will pay, because to this point, we ain't got the confidence that we can draft one. So we're going to have to go buy one at defensive tackle. But you need to show these prospective free agents that this Deshaun Watson thing is going to make this franchise elite for a long time to come.
They got to go out and handle this thing like a college football game. They got to come out and it's like, all right.
43-10.
Yeah.
40, I mean, you need to go out there and just absolutely just manhandle this franchise.
40s. Hey, they ain't got none of the guys playing. All their best guys are young guys. And you got an inexperienced quarterback. So I want to see the playbook open. I want to see Kevin Stefanski still being aggressive. I want to still see guys scoring points. And I want to see guys play to the end of the game, end of the win. Because, by the way, there has not a complete quarter-to-quarter, bell-to-bell played, game played for the Cleveland Browns this year. And I'm expecting to see one of those this week.
No question. This is the one. And number one, we've talked about this a lot. The Browns, somebody's going to get a beating from the Cleveland Browns. The way this season has gone on, some tough losses. Now Deshaun's back. Somebody's going to get knocked out by this team. If it's not this team, I mean, this is the recipe. Is most likely it's this team. And you hear the guys, they are amped. You hear Greg Newsome. Greg Newsome has never played in the NFL at the same time as Deshaun Watson. He's out there like a kid, like an absolute kid, just geeked about the fact that this guy is about to join this football team. And it all kicks off Sunday, 1 o'clock. Jeff Lloyd, Garrett Bush, pregame, Locked on Browns. This episode is brought to you by the good folks at Audible. Audible is releasing a slate of new football podcasts that we're sure you're going to love. Find Think Like a Champion now wherever you get your podcast. Think Like a Champion is a brand new podcast from Russell Wilson and Audible. Russ is a champion on the field, but off of it, we rarely know the grind on the path to greatness. Here, two-time Super Bowl champion and MVP Von Miller deliver sharp insights about performing at your highest level in moments of extreme pressure. Or NCAA champion Tim Tebow discuss how to find your unique personal mission in this world. Available for free on Audible or wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure you are checking out the new series at Audible.
Welcome back to the Locked On Browns podcast.
First things first. Should Russ Wilson really be concerned about debuting a new podcast right now?
I was just thinking about that, man. I was like, man, he picked
because you know what the first thing's going to be? Well, Russell's worried too much about podcasts.
I mean, he picked the wrong time to come up out of here.
I put that one on ice till like after the season right now.
I guess he's trying to he might be jousting for his second career,
He's on the hook till 2027 in Denver. There ain't no second career coming anytime soon.
Hey man, listen, he might he get that media game, he warming it up. He just look, I can tell the truth. I can multitask. But it ain't looking good. It's not looking good for your boy. Hey, we'll welcome you on, Russ. If you want to come on the Locked On Browns podcast, we'll take the interview. We'll make it work.
Absolutely.
But like we always make it work. But let's get back to what we want to really do, and that's get this dub, get this second win in a row, and now we're drinking the Kool-Aid so the Cleveland Browns can now move forward to running this table. I'm telling you, you'll feel a lot better once you drink the 6-0 Kool-Aid. One of the things that we will do is let's go take this call. I would say call like we on a radio show, but it might as well be a call. That'd be cool if we could do it. Let's get to a question of the day. And this comes from question of the day from Mr. Jiggles on Twitter. It says, how big of a loss is it in the David Njoku was out for the game against the Texans? Now, we kind of mentioned that during the first or second segment of the show. He's going to be out. It's not anything serious. I mean, you can see what kind of, offensive playmaking ability David Njoku brings. Just watch this catch he made with Jacoby Brissett, right, to win the game. However, I think they're holding him out a little bit. I think if it was a game that really meant something, he would try to play. But here's the thing about, Deshaun Watson. They're going to go out there and they're going to have a bunch of adrenaline flowing. And there's a lot of other people that you may see. One of the things you're going to see a lot more of is 4 wide receiver sets. I think you'll see more of David Bell. I think you're going to see more of Anthony Schwartz. They kind of warmed that up a little bit last week by showing Anthony Schwartz on the field a little more. You're going to start to see more multiple sets where it's not as many tight ends. Farrell Brown and so Harrison Bryant will do fine. They'll be okay, and they'll be able to run some of the sets they want to run. But you're going to see a lot more of the open spread type stuff, and hopefully a little more of Kareem Hunt anyway in this offense. So David Njoku will be back and probably be back next week. But like I said, Jeff, you're going to see some of these receivers coming up in some of these sets in these future games as well.
Here's a couple things with this. The Houston Texans cannot stop teams from running the ball. So I think we're going to see a little bit of the recipe the Browns used against the Bengals. Hey, if I got to play an extra lineman or two at tight end, and I'm basically telling you I'm running the ball, I don't think the Browns care. I just honestly don't think they care. There's two other things. Other thing with Deshaun walking in here, and after watching this for 11 games, he's talked about how much he's watched the film of Jacoby Brissett last couple of weeks when he was back in the building, watching film with Jacoby Brissett. Man, I want to get the ball to Amari Cooper. Man, I want to get the ball to Donovan Peoples-Jones. Man, I want to get the ball to Donovan. So maybe the fact that David isn't here this week slows things down a little bit for him because, there's a bevy of weapons at his disposal. So, maybe that's not the worst thing in the world. Yes, losing David Njoku, whatever game it is, it's a loss. There's no question about it. But this is a poor football team. I do agree with you on a little bit of the 4 wide. Because it's important here over the next 6 games to say, where is David Bell standing on this roster for 2023? Is he entrenched, or can I upgrade because I can say to a veteran free agent, maybe cost me 1 year, $3 million, and want to catch some balls from Deshaun Watson this year? That's a very, very appealing thing. Very, very appealing thing. Anthony Schwartz, you want to get a better feel on Anthony Schwartz. So, I think those are going to be a couple of things. I don't think that, David not playing probably helps Deshaun in just trying to stay in focus, in phase, and saying, I am throwing the ball to whoever is open, as opposed to, I got so many new toys, I'm giddy, I want to get everybody theirs today. So that's not going to be the case. And I would say you're probably going to see some of the extra linemen that we saw against the Bengals because the Browns don't care if it's a tell. The Browns don't care about the fact that even if they run a play action out of it, there may only be 3 eligible wide receivers. Browns do not care. They know they can put the ball down this team's throat. Gee, I think we're all feeling it. I think everybody's feeling it. The outcome of this game Sunday, as far as the Browns and the way this works, I'm just going to tell you right now, if we fire up that 2-minute drill and we do not know that where the game is, or if it's in doubt yet, it is. You thought some of these shows had some anger, had some venom, had some fire. Me and G, we might as well just mute out because it's going to be Bull for 60 minutes with a megaphone through his computer, calling for everybody and probably saying that the cats and dogs have to leave town too.
Everybody got to go. Look, man. It's a great day, man. I just feel a good vibe. I know if I feel a good vibe, I told you last week when they played the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I felt it was a good vibe. I felt people was energetic. I felt this was like a pre-release of what the team can be really like looking like. And so now, hey, shout out to Deshaun Watson, shout out to the team, and and I like what he said best. Shout out to Jacoby Brissett because he held it down. He did his thing. They got 5 wins. I know they would have liked to get a couple more, but here's where the winning streak starts. It's time to put some games together, start stacking some wins, and what better place to do it in having your quarterback back, going back home. And so we're looking forward to the challenge, man. It's going to be a great game. Looking forward to seeing you guys on the post-game show.
I will rarely ever say about any NFL game, one team should win by 2 touchdowns. One team should win by 17 points. The Browns should go out there, and it might even be 20. This has the makings of a 30-3, a 40-something to 10. Because you have a team in Houston that's doing everything they can to not screw up the fact that they're going to have the number 1 overall selection. Not to mention they're going to have another first-round pick. Browns can tell the story about where that first round pick will be. But this is a game where the Browns should just go in and just decimate and annihilate a team. Just absolutely beat this team into submission. They are going to come in riding high. There's no doubts about that. This team is fired up. They think they have the final piece of the puzzle back in this building. We all know what the difference was when it went from a 6-game suspension to an 11-game suspension. But it's 6, and it's setting the tone for probably the next 6 years. That's what it is for this team. He is Garrett Bush, Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, Monday through Friday at 11:01, of course, on YouTube. Make sure you check the guys out there. Saturday mornings, 8 to noon. The barber shop is always open, 92.3 The Fan. Always other opportunities to catch Garrett over there. Pre-game, post-game coverage. Browns, Buckeyes, Cavaliers. You know it. G. Bush is there at GBush91. Jeff Lloyd at Jeff_LJ_Lloyd. The show at Locked On Browns. Follow back account. We appreciate every single one of you who make us your first listen every day, whether it's on your favorite podcast app, here on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe. You got those notifications on. Also, likes on the episode, guys. There's going to be a little transition here. It's not going to affect any way you view the show here, but kind of go into a new host for the shows. This should improve a lot of the issues we've been having. So that's going to come. And as long as we get that all right, there's some things I would like to do, pop in here for some shorts, a minute or 2, 3 minutes, whatever, and a couple things while G is out doing 99 other jobs that he's got. So we're going to do everything we can to push this channel and just put out ridiculously good content for you guys day in, day out. I know it seems weird that the Browns are at 4-7, but this is really huge. This is huge the next 6 weeks, and making sure that we start to see the guy that the Browns think they have and show that investment to. So we'll see everybody on Sunday. We'll see you at the 2-minute warning. Kickoff 1 o'clock in Houston. Browns, Texans. This has been your daily delivery of all things Dog Pound. LGB on ELOB. Let's go Browns.